Summer vacation had finally arrived. 10-year-old Defne and her family were driving along the coast to reach the quiet little town where they spent every summer. The air was warm, the breeze smelled like salt, and the sound of distant waves filled the car. As they entered the town, everything looked just as she remembered. Small houses, stone streets, sleepy stores. But this year, there was something strange in the air. It wasn't just the quiet. It was as if the town itself was holding its breath. That night, their first night back, the wind picked up. Defne was sleeping peacefully when suddenly, the old doorbell echoed through the house. Her eyes snapped open. She held her breath and sat up slowly. She turned to check the clock on the nightstand. 2 a.m. exactly. Her feet touched the cold wooden floor as she crept to the window. Outside, the yard was empty. Still, not even a breeze moved the trees now. "That's strange," she whispered. She stood at the window for a long moment, trying to make sense of what she felt. The kind of fear that doesn't come from seeing something scary, but from not seeing anything at all. The silence felt heavy. She crawled back under the covers and pulled them up to her chin, but her eyes stayed open. The sound of that bell kept echoing in her mind. Who would ring a doorbell at this hour? The next morning, Defne wandered into the town bookstore. It was a tiny, dusty place with books stacked to the ceiling. The owner, Mr. Kimmel, was sitting behind the counter reading. As soon as he saw Defne, he smiled softly, almost knowingly. "Did the bell ring last night?" he asked, before she even said a word. Defne blinked. "Yes, but how did you?" Mr. Kimmel sighed and looked out the window. "You're not the first to hear it. Not the first, and not the last." He leaned in and lowered his voice. "There's an old story about a boy named Burak. He disappeared near the lighthouse. That was 50 years ago. Since then, on some nights, the bell rings, but no one's ever there. That night, just like the one before." The bell rang again, but this time, Defne was ready. She got up and ran to the window. Again, the yard looked empty, but something was lying on the ground near the gate. A folded piece of paper. She ran downstairs and picked it up. On the front, in shaky handwriting, it read, "Come to the lighthouse." Her heart thumped as she grabbed her flashlight and slipped out the door. The streets were dark. The wind was stronger tonight. Trees creaked. The path to the lighthouse was long, winding, and lined with shadows. She didn't look back. The door creaked as she pushed it open. The inside was cold and smelled like wet stone. Her flashlight swept across the dusty floor, and there, in the center of the room, sat a small teddy bear, worn, dirt-stained, but with kind eyes. Beside it lay an old notebook. She picked it up and opened it carefully. The first page read, "I'm Burak. I just wanted someone to play with. I waited and waited, but no one ever came. Everyone forgot me." Defne sat down on the floor. She looked at the teddy bear, and suddenly it didn't feel scary anymore. It felt sad. She hugged the bear tightly, stood up, and climbed the steps to the top. She turned on the light. The beam shined across the ocean, and the wind, as if listening, stopped. When she woke the next morning, the house felt warmer, softer. There was no bell, no wind, just the quiet hum of the sea. As she walked through town, Mr. Kemmel was outside sweeping the steps. He looked up and smiled. "He's resting now, isn't he?" Defne nodded. "Yes," she said. "He was just lonely." As she turned to walk home, something caught her eye. High above, at the top of the lighthouse, a small figure stood in the morning light. Just for a second, a boy. He smiled at her, and then he was gone. Sometimes, a bell ringing in the night is just someone looking for a friend.